Thank you for joining us. My name is Maria Madrid, Director of Latino Services with the Colorado Gerontological Society. Today, we have another Advanced Care Planning webinar, and today's topic is Financial Advance Directives. The Society takes a very comprehensive look at advance directives. The first part of our webinar series focused on medical. Today we'll start with financial to provide you a better understanding of what steps you need to take in order to prepare for your financial needs and matters. Before we get into the material, I would like to provide you with some clarification. So understand that this webinar is part of a larger advanced care planning series. Everything that I'm speaking of today is Colorado specific. Some of the information on Social Security with the Social Security Administration that goes across all states, but the financial advance directives that we'll talk about are Colorado specific. The Colorado Gerontological Society provides assistance completing your advance directives, so please use us as a resource if you need assistance completing your advance directives. All the information that I'm discussing today is available on our website at senioranswers.org. And advanced care planning is for everyone 18 years and over. Although the Society focuses on older adults, we do promote advanced care planning for everyone ages 18 and over. So my objectives for you today are for you to understand what financial advance directives are available, how your personal circumstances are going to determine what considerations, what forms you complete, and what information you need and best practices to complete those advance directives. So let's begin with what financial advance directives are available. So before we get into the actual directives, let me just note that individuals that should be looking at financial advance directives are those individuals that are 18 and over, have decisional capacity. Decisional capacity means you have the cognitive ability to take information and give informed consent. Advance directives are different legal documents that allow individuals 18 and over the ability to plan ahead for any circumstance that could prevent them from managing their own money. Also, Colorado is not a next of kin state, so understand that that means that our loved ones would not be able to automatically step in on our behalf. So we do need to plan ahead, and having financial advance directives is how we put it on paper. And once again, we're talking about everyone 18 years and over. If someone does not have decisional capacity, then financial advance directives are not for them. We will discuss legal guardianship and conservatorship in future webinars. So please make sure you join us then so you could further understand how that individual that is lacking decisional capacity can be assisted by you. So let's get into the financial durable power of attorney. These slides have a significant amount of information, so I am going to turn off my camera at this point in time so you're able to see the entire screen. Okay, so the first advance directive that everyone 18 years and over should consider is the financial durable power of attorney. This form and the slides, the recording, I will make available for you after the webinar. Just note that it takes a little bit long due to technology having to render and all that, so I will have it to you by the end of the business day. So the form that we are talking about, the Financial Advance Directive, it is a legal document. This financial durable power of attorney appoints who is going to speak on your behalf and make decisions about your financial matters when you're not able to communicate. Your agent needs to be at least 18 years of age, and you could also include alternates. The form that I'm including for you today, that form has been overseen by the Colorado Bar Association, so it's a fill in the blank form. We recommend for everyone, it doesn't matter how much wealth, how much finances you have, we recommend that everyone over the age of 18 has someone appointed through a financial power of attorney. So just understand that the form that we are providing for you is a fill in the blank, but just note that you could always go to an attorney and get a financial durable power of attorney completed. So your form could look different and might have some additional items that are not included in what I will be providing you today. Also note that before completing financial durable powers of attorney, check in with your bank, your credit union. The reason for this is every financial institution, specifically major banks like US Bank, Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of the West, they have their own financial power of attorney forms that they want to be used for their institution. So it's very possible that you could have multiple financial power of attorneys, okay? And just note that every bank's situation is a little bit different. So some banks want you to have one financial power of attorney for all of your accounts with that institution, and some of them want you to have one financial power of attorney per account. So if you have a checking and a savings, that would be 2 financial power of attorneys only for those bank accounts. Also, depending on your situation, you could have, like I said, more than one. You could have several, but just make sure that you check in with your financial institutions, especially if they're a larger bank. Typically, credit unions do not have their own financial power of attorney, and the one that we're discussing today will suffice. But still check in with them and see what their process is to ensure that you have that they accept your financial power of attorney. So who can be an agent? Your agent is that person that is going to speak for you, and your alternate are the individuals that could step in if for whatever reason your agent is not able to speak on your behalf. So they need to be 21 years and older. They need to be willing to accept the responsibility, and they need to be available in case of an emergency. They could be family, but they don't have to be a blood relative. It just needs to be individuals that you trust. And before you complete any form, it's just best practice to sit down, have a conversation with the individuals that you're considering as your agent and your alternate. Some individuals have it set up where they have, one family member assigned in their medical sphere and having the medical durable power of attorney, and they have another person for their financial durable power of attorney. And then you have other individuals that the same person is handling the medical and the finances. There's no right or wrong. It just depends on your situation and what your family members or that person of trust that you are considering, what they're able to do. So make sure that you have the conversations, make sure that they're willing to accept the responsibility. If they're not willing to accept the responsibility, please make sure that you talk to other individuals. We want to make sure that when something does happen, if it happens, you have a plan in place where your agent and your alternates have already agreed to take on the responsibility, and there's not an issue there. So what information do you need when you're ready to complete the form? You will need your personal information in addition to the agent and the alternate's information. So you will need their full name, full address, full phone number, and just note that the financial durable power of attorney, it needs to be notarized. If it's not notarized, it's not legally binding. So make sure that it is notarized, and that once you get the document completed, you always save the original for yourself. And then in a little bit, we'll talk about who you should be giving copies to. So now we're going to shift gears. So the financial durable power of attorney, that one is a tool that everyone 18 years and over should have. The next two things that I'll be talking about, the next two tools, are specifically for Social Security beneficiaries. It doesn't matter what program under Social Security you have, whether it's disability, whether it's retirement, it doesn't matter. You could go ahead and have these two tools would apply for you. So these two tools are only managed by the Social Security Administration. In order to take advantage of these tools, you have to go directly through Social Security Administration. Please note that only the Social Security Administration can assign a representative payee, and representative payees can only manage your Social Security benefit. So that means that just having a representative payee is not enough. We still need to have the additional protection of a financial power of attorney. So before I move further, just to give you an explanation of a representative payee. So a representative payee is an individual. It could be a friend, a family member. They could apply through the Social Security Administration to help a loved one who is a Social Security beneficiary who can no longer manage their benefit. This happens at the time that is needed. As a Social Security beneficiary, what you could do is complete the advance designation. So the advance designation is you as a Social Security beneficiary letting the Social Security Administration know in the event in the future that I cannot manage my money, my benefit through the Social Security Administration, I would like up to these three individuals to be considered for a representative payee. So let's go further into advanced designation. Once again, it's available for all Social Security beneficiaries. It doesn't matter what your Social Security benefit is, if it's really high, low, it doesn't matter. Everyone should consider this. And also note, in addition to the advanced designation, which is only saying in the event in the future, if I need this level of support, this is who I would like to be considered. That is just managing the Social Security benefit. So you still need to consider those financial powers of attorney for all your other financial needs. So once again, advanced designation is you telling the Social Security Administration, here is the name of the up to three individuals who, if I need in the future a representative payee, I want those individuals to be considered. You could change your mind at any time. You could update it. You could either call Social Security Administration and request Form SSA 4547. They don't have it available online to download. So if you want a copy of that document, you need to contact the Social Security Administration, or if you have a My Social Security account, you could also do it there and manage it through your My Social Security account. So like I said, make sure that you also consider a financial power of attorney. Advance designation is not a power of attorney at all. It's just you notifying the Social Security Administration who, in the event that you need a representative payee, who you would like to be considered. And remember, all of the advance directives that we talk about are voluntary. So you could change your mind at any time and update those documents accordingly. So now the representative payee. So the representative payee process begins when the person cannot manage their money. Prior to that, there's only advance designation. To become a representative payee, that family member or friend needs to go directly through the Social Security Administration and request to be someone's representative payee. They do have to prove that the individual could no longer manage their money, get a signature from a physician, complete forms, as well as pass a background check. If the individual cannot pass a background check, they will not be considered to be a representative payee. So as you're having conversations, just note that if that individual has a criminal background, that might be a barrier for them to assist you in this process. So when you're having those conversations, do consider that. Also, once again, let me reiterate, the representative payee only manages the Social Security benefit. So this does not give them access to financial institutions, to any property, to anything else when it comes to your finances. Okay, so that's why we still need to consider that financial power of attorney. So just remember, in order to do this for a loved one, to become someone's representative payee, you do need to be at least 18 years and older. Okay. So information needed and best practices. So for advanced designation, you could only do it either with the form SSA 4547, or you could do it at My Social Security account. You will need the full name of the individuals that you want to be considered. And you want to note what relationship they are to you. So is it your son? Is it a niece, a nephew? And also a phone number to contact them. And that phone number should be a complete phone number. For a representative payee, the person that is seeking to be the representative payee needs to contact their local Social Security Administration office. And two of the forms that they will need to complete is Form SSA 11 and Form SSA 787. And once again, they will need to get a doctor's signature to certify why that Social Security beneficiary can no longer manage their finances. All right, so let's get into what advance directive should I complete? Which one's right for me? So I have two tools for you. The first one is what form should I complete? So the first thing that you need to understand is that all advance directives are voluntary. So you don't need to do anything, but when you do, you have a plan for yourself. So this is why you will see that we have consider instead of you need to, or it's recommended that you complete these forms, because all of these forms are voluntary. So basically everyone that needs, so basically everyone over the age of 18 should have a financial power of attorney. Why? Because in case of an emergency or another situation where we're not able to speak and we need our bills to be paid, we need someone to be able to step at that point in time to speak for us and take care of those things. So basically the question is, do you need someone to speak for you regarding your finances in the event that you're unable to speak for yourself in the future and you need assistance? So if the answer is yes, which for most of us should be yes, then we recommend that you complete the financial power of attorney. If at this time you don't consider that that's your situation, once again, I say please consider a financial power of attorney. We're not saying we want negative things to happen. We just want to have something in place. I work with a significant number of families where they haven't completed their financial advance directives. They have not completed their medical advance directives. And then we have families seeking emergency legal guardianship, emergency conservatorship to be able to assist their loved ones. So I do have a question. If a representative payee lives out of state, is the local Social Security Administration office where the representative payee lives or where we live? So the Social Security Administration is a federal entity. They don't have a specific law or anything that says you have to go to the one in Colorado versus wherever they're located. They do have to obviously know the person's information. So the local Social Security Administration office where they're located would be able to assist them. They just need to go ahead and make sure that they know all the information and let it be known that the person lives in another state and how they will be providing support although they're living in different states. And once again, the person is not required to live in the person that is going to be the representative payee. They're not required to live in the same state. But just note that that could be one of the questions that is asked. So just know how you will manage that situation. Okay, so the next tool that I want you to look at is what financial form should I complete as a Social Security beneficiary? So Social Security beneficiary could be anyone that has benefits from Social Security retirement, supplemental Social Security income, Social Security disability insurance. So as long as you fall into any of those benefits, you could go ahead and do advanced designation. It's only when you have you can no longer manage your own money due to either a cognitive or physical impairment that we are looking at you needing a representative payee. If that is not your situation and you need someone to speak for you in the future, in the event that something happens, then we're recommending through the Social Security Administration to look at advanced designation, and outside of Social Security Administration, looking at a financial power of attorney. So those two tools will be available for you as part of the slide deck. So let's go into a little more depth about what are the steps to take to become a representative payee and do your advanced designation. So there's some common terms for you. If you're not used to the lingo, I provided you with the definitions. So most people will say payee instead of representative payee. Beneficiary is the person who is entitled to the Social Security benefit, whether it's retirement, survivor, disability benefits. The person that is receiving that is the person who is entitled is the beneficiary. And then recipient is a person who receives supplemental security income or SSI payments due to age or disability. So you will see that those common terms used when dealing with the Social Security Administration. So representative payee, we're looking if someone is receiving Social Security, once again, supplemental security income, Social Security disability insurance, all of those, then we're talking about the person can no longer manage their money. That family or friend who's looking to manage, they need to go ahead and complete SSA 787. And when you get the copy to the slide deck, all the hyperlinks are here. So if you have any questions, you can just go ahead and click on it and it'll take you directly to the correct links. So Social Security Administration is always going to look for family or friends before they look at an organization to help you manage your Social Security benefit and if you're not able to do so. So by completing your advanced designation, you're already giving that information to Social Security Administration to begin with. So, so just note that because it has to be started at the time of need, the representative payee process, it is very beneficial and it's in your best interest to tell Social Security Administration who you want to be considered. That's why the advanced designation is so important, because at that point you're telling Social Security, this is who I would want, versus the family having to figure out who can do it and what that looks like. Is that the person that you wanted to be your representative payee? That's a question mark, right? So it's better for you to do it beforehand and get that taken care of. So that way when this is the need, then you already have a plan in place. So a payee's main duties are to use the Social Security benefit to pay the current and future needs of the Social Security beneficiary. And this means, you have to, with that money, with that benefit, pay the person's rent, utilities, food, those basic needs. And the other responsibility is that the payee has to keep records of all expenses, because the Social Security Administration wants to see at least annual reports of how that money is being spent, to make sure that the beneficiary is getting the benefit of the Social Security benefit. So if you're a family or friend that wants to begin this process, contact the Social Security Administration. 1-800-772-1213 is their main phone number. They're still open, although with COVID-19, local offices remain closed. You can begin this process through the phone and go ahead and begin completing the SSA 787 form. So, like I said, you call that 1-800 number. You will have to contact the doctor, the primary physician for the Social Security beneficiary or recipient, and get that signature to make sure that that's part of the information that Social Security gets and requires. You will have to do a face-to-face interview. Once you contact the Social Security Administration, they will go ahead and set it up. Once again, with COVID-19, they will determine what face-to-face means at this point in time. So it can be a virtual. I know that a while back, they, and when I say they, Social Security Administration has limited face-to-face interviews that they can provide. So that is a possibility. But before you go to the local office, make sure that you are calling them first. So that way you don't waste your time, and they might not let you in if you don't have that appointment. And finally, once you've completed all that, the Social Security Administration will determine if, first of all, the Social Security beneficiary needs a payee, and then if they do accept you as that representative payee. With advanced designation, they will, since it's 3 individuals that they could list, they will go through this entire process with your person number 1. If that person number 1, everything checks out, then that's who will become your representative payee. If for whatever reason that person does not check out, then they would go to the person number 2 that you listed, and so on and so forth if they need to go on to person number 3 on your advanced designation. So in front of you, you have the information on what you would need to do an advanced designation for a representative payee. So you will need for each designee up to 3, full name, telephone number, and the relationship to you. You could call the Social Security Administration for Form SSA 4547. They do not have this form available to download online. They will only provide it to Social Security beneficiaries, and it'll only be done through mail at this point in time, or if you have a My Social Security account, then you could do it there. And once you go ahead and receive the slide deck, like I said, you could go ahead and click here and it'll take you to the appropriate websites. So now let's go into completing a financial power of attorney. So first, the financial power of attorney form that we're going to look at today, it's also known as a general power of attorney. This comes from the Colorado Bar Association, from the Colorado Senior Law Book. It's a great resource. Please do check it out. They have a lot of information. This link here will take you directly to the 2020 version of the Colorado Senior Law Book. So once again, the financial power of attorney authorizes any person, your agent, this is the person that you choose, to make decisions concerning your property, and you are the principal. Your agent will be able to make decisions and act with respect to your property, including your money, just as if they were yourself. This form provides you with the ability to assign an agent and two alternates. You could also do a co-agent. There's special instructions there in the form. And let's see, this is a 6-page document. So when you do complete this document, you could either complete it on your computer or you could print it out and write on it. If you're completing it on a computer, then there's not an issue of legibility. But if you are completing it by handwriting on it, then I do recommend that you use a blue or black ink pen and write very legibly. Secondly, when you do print out the document, you need the entire 6 pages. And also the form must be notarized for it to be legally binding. So before you complete the financial power of attorney form, make sure that you do check with your bank, with other financial institutions. Once again, it's very important that you understand what your financial institutions are requiring of you. And a lot of the different processes with financial institutions come from those institutions trying to prevent fraud. Financial exploitation for older adults, it's a real issue. It happens very frequently, and this is why you have to take the additional step to contact your financial institutions to make sure that what you're trying to do will make sense for that financial institution. So before you complete the form, make sure you have your agent and alternate's full name, full address, and the best phone number to be contacted. So here I have blown up the different sections so it's easier for you to see. The actual form is not this large. So the first thing is you have to say who you are. So in this example, we will use Jane Doe. So here you see Jane Doe's name where the principal name goes. Remember, you're the principal and you're this you're going to be highlighted in green. Next, you're going to say who your agent is. So Jane Doe, the principal, is selecting John Doe to be her agent. So she also is documenting John Doe's full address. Make sure that you include the entire address, the number, the street, the city, the state, and the zip code. And you also want to do that for the agent's telephone number. Make sure you include the entire phone number, including area code. Nowadays, you know, people could be living in one state but have an area code of another state. So we want to make sure that when you're completing this form, the information is complete. So this is page 1 of 6. Next, page 2 of 6, and you'll see which page I'm in. It's on the bottom of this slide. In the following slides, it'll tell you what page of the document, since it's a 6-page document. So page 2 of 6, it wants to know if you have alternate agents. So that's what they mean with successor agents. So Jane wants Jim Doe to be her alternate number 1 and Mary Doe to be her alternate number 2. For both, we have their full name, we have their full address, 1129 Pennsylvania Street, Denver, Colorado 80203. And you will see that for both Jim and for Mary, you do have a full phone number, area code, and all. So you have the ability to go ahead and do the agent and then the alternates, up to 2 alternates. So your first agent, that's your primary, and then your alternates are your plan B and your plan C. Now I understand that not everybody has 3 different individuals that they want to or can include here. So just know that if you don't have 3 individuals, it's fine. You at least need 1. Where it comes into play and it could be very important is if that agent that you chose is in the same situation as you and they cannot communicate, then they're not going to be able to provide the assistance that you need at that time. That's why having alternates is very helpful, if you do have alternates. So we're still on page 2 of 6, and here is what you are telling your agent that they can do. So this is granting general authority. This is where you're telling them what they're able to assist you with. And this is basically up to you. In what your situation is. So for some individuals, they want assistance in all areas because they don't know where they might need assistance in the future. And some individuals highlight the areas that they want. Some individuals will highlight only the areas that apply to them. So real property is exactly that: property, tangible personal property, stocks and bonds, commodities and options, banks and other financial institutions, operation of an entity or business, insurance, annuities, your estate, trust, and other beneficial interests, claims and litigation, personal and family maintenance, benefits from governmental programs or civil or military service, retirement plans, taxes, or all preceding subjects. So here is where, depending on your situation and what the level of support that you want from your agent, this is what you're going to put here. In the ones that you're giving permission to or authorization to, you're going to put your initials. Okay, so that is going to be based on your situation. Now, there's some that I definitely recommend if you're not going to do all preceding subjects. Benefits from governmental programs or civil or military service could be very important, especially if that person needs to apply for Medicaid benefits, a long-term program to provide you with long-term supports. That's an important one. So I tell people to always consider that. Retirement plans, that's another important one. Taxes, if you still file taxes and need to file taxes annually, that's another good one, just to make sure that you are up to date with those things, and additional issues are not a consequence of not filing your taxes. Not everyone has annuities, not everybody has stocks and bonds. Whatever your situation is, this is a great list to start looking at what are the areas where you would want to be supported, and give that person the ability to do so. So the second part of this, as far as what authorities, what powers you're granting, this is also part of page 2 and 3 of 6. So additional things that you could grant powers for is if you have trust, beneficiary designation, so authorize another person, if you have a power of attorney and you're an agent for them, annuities, in a business. So once again, based on your situation and what that looks like, those are some other things to consider on the form. So page 3 of 6 also, well, it has some very important things here. So if you wish to name more than one agent, you could go ahead and do it here. So co-agents are not required to act together unless you include that they need to in the special instructions. You could also have different effective dates. So when does your document become effective? So is it immediately? Is it when you become incapacitated, where you when you can't communicate your needs? Otherwise, if you don't put that in the special instructions, it'll just be effective immediately. So that's another consideration, that as you before you complete your form, that you have that you process the information and see what you want that to look like. On page 4 of 6, you have nomination of a conservator or guardian. This is optional. So the advance directives that we're talking about, specifically with the financial power of attorney, it's for a limited period of time. If you suffer a long-term disability, or the financial power of attorney that you created was only limited to one specific thing, and now due to your situation and your needs, additional supports are needed, because you can't provide authorization at that point, that person would either have to seek guardianship for medical or conservatorship for finances. So that process needs to be through the court system. So the person that is supporting you would have to start that process. So here, the judge at the hearing, once the documents are completed, they determine who the guardian or the conservator is. So here, by completing this, you're saying, in the event that in the future, if I was to need a legal guardian or a conservator, these are the persons that I would nominate. It could be the same person, it could be different persons, but note that only the court has the authority to appoint both a conservator or a legal guardian. This by no means means that you are appointing them as either. Only the courts have the power to do that. You are just nominating who you would want to be considered if that was the case. And lastly, and this needs to be done in front of your notary, wait to sign the form until you're in front of the notary. You will need to provide proof of ID. So most commonly, Colorado ID, driver's license is fine. You will need to sign, and here we see that Jane Doe signed. We do have Jane's printed name. We have Jane's address and her full phone number, as well as the date. In page 5 of 6 is where the notary will complete their seal. So you do not have to worry about completing this part. The notary is responsible for this. They will indicate the county, the city. They will document when this was acknowledged before them, the date, the month, the year, the principal, Jane Doe. They will also indicate when their commission expires, and they will sign. So one of the things that you have to look for with the notary seal is that their commission hasn't expired. As long as your document is completed when their commission was valid, you don't have to worry about your document not being legally binding. A lot of folks ask me, what happens to my document if my notary's commission expires? Do not worry, that does not do anything to your document. Basically, what you just need to make sure is when this was completed, the document was completed, that commission was valid and hadn't expired. So after so many years, notaries have to renew their commission or let it go, terminate it, it's fine. That does not impact the validity of your document. What is important is that your document, when it was notarized, it was under a valid commission, and that commission hadn't expired. So you will be fine. And then page 5 of 6 and page 6 will have a list of all of the agent's responsibilities. It's a good reminder for individuals what it means to be an agent, and just so both you and your agent and alternates have a really good idea of what they're getting into, what the responsibilities are, so everyone's on board and they understand what is being required of them. So best practices to consider. So after you complete your advance directives, you always keep the originals. Keep them available in your house, and have an area where people know that that's where your original forms are. Provide your agent and your alternates with copies. You could also provide financial institutions with copies. Just note that you need to have the original in case anything is needed. We want your advance directives to be living documents. So review your advance directives every year when there's a change in condition, when there's a change in diagnosis, if you get a new diagnosis with marriage, divorce, if you change your mind on who you want your agent to be, or who you put down as your designee on the advanced designation, you could go ahead and change that at any time. So just note that these documents, we want to complete them and continue to review them so they still reflect who we want to support us in the event that we need that support. So resources, everything that I mentioned today, I will make available through the links on the slides. Also, I will send you a recording. You could watch it as many times as you need. It'll be on our YouTube channel and it'll be available. I will give you a link to our Advanced Directives Toolkit by the Society, links to all of our financial advance directives, also the medical advance directives that we've covered in previous webinars. And I will also provide you to the playlist on our YouTube channel, so you could watch any of those. And now we have time for questions. So let me make sure that I get to everyone's questions. In front of you, you will see our contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. And let's go to the chat and the questions. So okay, so how do you designate co-agents? On the special instructions, that's where you would designate co-agents. You would say who the co-agents are and how you want them to work, if they need to work together. And for that level of detail, I am more than happy to sit with you virtually over the phone and provide you with some potential wording and look at what you're trying to do, so I provide you with best practices. I know that completely doesn't answer your question, but when we're looking at co-agents, I really like to look at that with the person to make sure that what they're trying to do is what they have on paper. So I would recommend for you to give me a call or send me an email, and I'll be more than glad to go into more detail, just to make sure that what you are trying to do is in fact what is being completed on the form. Let's see. Please review grant of specific authority. So that's going to be based on your situation and the powers or the areas. It's going to be very independent. So that's one of the things that makes this document a little bit harder, right? Because it's based on your situation and how you want to be assisted. So if you have any particular questions on your specific situation and how that might play out with your financial power of attorney or financial powers of attorneys, because once again, you can have more than one, and you can have different start dates. So let's say that you would want someone to always have the ability to assist you to deal with your financial institutions. You could go ahead and do that, and it doesn't have to be when you become incapacitated. Some other individuals just want that assistance to come into place when they are incapacitated. There's very limited power of attorneys that it's only for one transaction. So if you are trying to sell property and you want them to help you just with that piece. So it really varies on the situation. So depending on what your situation is, please feel free to give me a call, email me. I'm more than happy to go more into detail and make sure that based on your situation, we have all the things check marked that you need. So at this, okay, let me see. I have one last question here. These forms appear to only apply while the person is alive. Are there other forms when the beneficiary dies? So at this point in time, everything that we've covered with our webinars are for when a person is alive. When we pass away, the financial, medical power of attorneys, all the advance directives that we had for when we were alive, those are no longer valid. And that's where having a trust and having a last will and testament, which we will cover in a future webinar, that's where that comes into play. And that's your plan for when you pass away and how you want your property to be distributed and what that looks like. So the most two common tools for a plan for when we pass away are the last will and testament and trusts. Let's see, I have another question. Any knowledge about professional managers if PR not available? I'm thinking you're saying, I don't know what PR is. If you could clarify for me so I could answer that question correctly. Meanwhile, while you clarify that for me, for individuals that do not have a person that is able to assist them, whether it's family, friends, or otherwise, there's private case managers that can assist in with such things as being a representative payee or legal guardianship and conservatorship. So I don't know if that's what you are referring to. Any knowledge about professional? I'm still not understanding what the PR is. So if you have agents or alternate agents. So I don't really understand what you're asking me when you say any knowledge about personal managers if PR not available. Do you mean personal representative? I don't know what you mean with PR. So if you could clarify that, I am more than happy to try to answer your question. And we don't have any other questions. So at this point in time, it is 1 p.m. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you could join me in future webinars. I will make all of this information available to you at the end of the business day. Thank you and be well.